Now, I know this isn't a recent game anymore because it came out a little bit earlier last year, but with the most recent Steam sale going on, I finally had a chance to pick this up, and through, whatever other games I have in my catalog that I'm currently trying to play through, I finally got to play this game the other day, and I actually was just so intrigued by it that I went ahead and beat the whole game. I think I split it up into 2 different days worth of gameplay, but this game was absolutely fantastic. So as a big fan of indie games, I was really intrigued by this when I first saw it on Steam, and with some of the overwhelmingly positive reviews that it has, I knew that it was probably going to be a good game just from, picking it up off of, just the purchase. But after playing through the entire game and, getting to play it and in its entirety, I have to say this is probably one of the best indie platformers that I've actually played. And I think it's really unique because it has all these really cool visual effects that go on, and the soundtrack really blends together well. And although it's one of those games where you one hit die, kind of like in Hotline Miami or some of the other games that you might have played that are kind of like this, it kind of uses the whole you die quickly and have to return to the beginning of the level thing to its advantage because it plays into the story. And I think that's really cool because the story feels really unique. At least I've never seen anything sort of similar to it, but I'm going to try to not talk about the story as much because I think I beat this game in 3 hours, so it's really not that long, but the story is really intriguing, and I think that if you're actually tempted to pick this game up, I would definitely recommend it because it's really good. So the first thing I want to kind of talk about are the visuals of the game. As you can see from just the gameplay playing in the background, it's got all these nice neon bright colors to kind of pop and really stand out certain aspects of the game as you're playing through it, but it does a really good job of making sure that things on the screen that you can interact with and everything are visibly interactable, I guess, if that's how you want to put it. You definitely know that you're going to be able to interact with something on the screen from the way it either looks or the way it's colored or whatever the case may be. And it just, I don't know, it's so visually pleasing to me at least, and paired with the fantastic soundtrack that the game has, it just all really creates this sort of surreal experience when you're playing through it, because you're just maybe you're on a hard level and you're running through and you keep dying, but you're just listening to this upbeat soundtrack play in the background and really bring you into the the atmosphere, and you get kind of sucked into it and you just play it over and over and over again, and you're dying, but you're having fun with it because it's a really entertaining game, and you want to get through the game so you can read more into the story or whatever the case may be. But it just, I don't know, just the visuals and all of that really bring in a really fun and enjoyable experience for me at least. Moving into the pacing of the game, I feel like it does a really good job of, keeping a correct pacing and everything, because the enemies move quick, but you move quick too, and obviously with it being a one-hit kill sort of mechanic there, you have to really be aware of what you're doing. And sometimes it can get kind of overwhelming in certain situations where you're moving really quickly and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on and everything, and you end up sort of button mashing and getting carried away with yourself, and sometimes you make a mistake or whatever, this and that. But it's got 2 really big mechanics as far as the movement goes. One is, if you're playing with a controller like I did, the right trigger will make you roll or sort of dash forward, and it makes you move a lot faster quickly in a quick burst. And then you have the left trigger, which actually does more of a slow time, or it just slows down time, and you have a meter in the top left of your HUD that actually shows how much slow time you have available. So you have to use that wisely, because it's really helpful in situations where you're fighting people with guns or whatever, because you need to slow down time so you can deflect the bullet back at them, or just even to give yourself more time to think about what your next move is going to be in the middle of these big scenic combos or whatever that you're pulling off and taking out all these enemies and everything. It does a really good job of letting you kind of control the pacing, but at the same time that if you run out of slow time or whatever the case may be, that it's gonna be quick and it's gonna be in your face, and you gotta really be able to handle that, or else you're gonna die and have to restart this level over again. Overall, this game took me around roughly 3 hours to complete, and that's kind of interesting because in one case there was some sort of like an alternate ending that I actually got around an hour, maybe 2 hours into the game, and I thought that was kind of weird because I was like, okay, well, I didn't think the game was going to end that way, but you actually get to, you know, make a choice or whatever. And after I ended up making the opposite choice from reloading the save and everything and getting back into the game, I had a whole slew of more levels that I got to go through and everything, which I thought was very interesting because you can kind of like choose like your actual choices in the game sort of have weight to them, I guess, and I think that's really cool. As far as like the actual length of the game goes, I like this a lot. I think that most indie games that have some sort of like story really do this, you know, well. As far as most of the time my experience is, I mean, obviously not all indie games do, but I like indie games for the fact that it's going to be a shorter game, but you're not going to pay that AAA price. Like me buying this game for $10 and getting 3 hours worth out of it. You know, some people might say, oh, well, 3 hours really isn't a whole lot. I don't know if that's really worth my money. But on the other hand, like, it's very polished. It plays very well. It's very fluid. And I mean, this game is just, it's got a, I normally don't pay too much attention to a lot of stories because they don't really capture me a whole lot, but this game really did kind of draw me in, and it was super interesting to me at least. So I mean, I'm giving this, you know, story like a, you know, 9 out of 10 at least, because it's kind of like open to interpretation in some aspects, but it's really engaging, and like, you know, you meet characters along the way that you get to, you know, really interact with and, you know, learn about from, you know, just, you know, reading the dialogue and kind of checking into some, you know, backstory type stuff. So I don't know, I thought the pacing for the game itself was really good. It played, you know, not too long. It didn't drone on or anything like that. So I mean, I had a lot of fun, you know, just playing through it, and I got a ton of enjoyment out of the playtime that I, you know, played it for. Also, something else worth noting is that this game doesn't really have a difficulty setting or anything like that, and while I don't really want to call it a roguelike game or anything like that, because each level has multiple stages and you're really only starting over with each stage every time you die, so I don't know. It's really up to you on whether or not you can handle the difficulty of the game. It really just takes some getting used to the controls and making sure you can kind of master, you know, the pacing of the game and everything like that to really understand how difficult it is. But I mean, I don't think it was bad enough to where, you know, you're getting super frustrated with it. There was times where, like, I kept, you know, running into the same thing over and over again or whatever, and it kind of, you know, irritates you or whatever. But at the same time, you know, if you just take it slow and pace yourself and make sure that you know, watch what you're doing, you can get through the level and not have to, like, absolutely kill yourself over it. Like, it's not gonna, you know, make you too angry as long as you don't let it. But that's just, you know, how it goes. So, coming to a close, I definitely want to hear from you guys. I really, really enjoyed this game. If you have played this game, let me know what you thought. I really enjoyed, like, even, you know, going through after I finished the game and looking up, you know, different people's interpretations on how the story went or whatever like that, and trying to get a little bit more understanding of what was going on, because it is a little bit confusing as far as the story goes, but I think it was engaging enough and interesting enough to where I wanted to learn more about it and everything. And if you haven't played this game, I would definitely recommend, if you don't want to buy it for, I think the MSRP, like the regular price for it, is $15, but if you can find it on sale or something for 10 or less or whatever the case may be, whenever you end up getting around to it, I would definitely pick it up. The game has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, and I definitely understand why. So yeah, definitely, like, go through, and if you want to pick it up, let me know what you thought. Really, I mean, I enjoyed this game a ton just off of the 2 days of gameplay that I got out of it, and I don't know, it was a very surprisingly, like, good, like, time. So yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and enjoying the video, and I'll see you guys in another video a little bit later. So you can check out some of the other videos on my channel if you want to. I have different series going on or whatever, and then I do these kind of one-off videos here and there. But yeah, thanks for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one.